you getting yourself ready for our show?
Alrighty, guys, Bobby Roast Beef here with another episode of Jigs and Bigs. We've got a great one for you this morning, trust me. We're coming at you as unexpectedly as a rogue wad of whale ejaculate. Trust me, we're flying at you at the speed of you-know-what. And I'll get to why I mentioned that in just a bit. We've got a good one. We're going to take 2021 by the numbers, and ice is coming. It is. This week, locally, weather-wise, we're actually going to be in great ice-forming conditions to get some good stuff going and happening for everybody. So if you're not getting out to what little open water there is, moving water and stuff, now's your opportunity to go ahead and get on it. We're going to talk about our weeks, obviously, go over some things, and Shawn has a local business he wants to give a little shout-out to, which is pretty cool. Of course, we got Just the Tip for you and FTG. Both segments, amazing submissions this week. This week, though, specifically, we're going to talk about something in Just the Tip that, the man, Chad Hoover went, took to YouTube, and there's some changes in KBF, and some interesting stuff, and in interesting ways that he acquired some information to sort of like improve the rules and regulations for KBF a little bit. Some people are a little fired up about this. It's been a hot topic. In Just the Tip, we're going to talk about money, and we're going to talk about money in baits. More details to come there. There's a whole follow-up that goes with it you're not going to want to miss. Of course, we have some information for you about the MAKB West and EKF and KBF dates that are happening around the Northeast. So if you like to get in a tiny boat and do some fishing in your kayak and maybe win or make a donation of money, you're going to want to know when and where you can do that stuff. We got all kinds of good stuff coming up for you guys. It is Jigs and Bigs. It is a Tuesday morning. Trust me, guys, you do not want to miss out on this. It is one hell of a show. It's me, Bobby Roast Beef. It's Shawn the Fisherman. It's Jigs and Bigs. Guys, we will be right back after this short break. Trust me, you don't want to go and miss anything else. We will be back in just a minute. Good morning, Gravy Fishing, one of our jig heads in the live stream, the Jig Head exclusive live stream here. We were talking before we started recording about the weather. He says it's freaking cold out there. He's not wrong, but he's working outside. I feel for you, buddy. Layers and lots of hot coffee. Shawn, how are you?
Welcome to Jigs and Bigs, where we're welcome.
So, let me explain why I said that. So I haven't been to my Friday night trivia spot in weeks. It's been a while. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously we had Christmas Eve and then New Year's Eve, and then I was there this last Friday, and it was a packed house, and it was like, when you haven't seen some folks in a while, and you get around them, and everybody's a little bit punchy. Well, there's one team that's played before, and I think they were called. Oh, what are they called? Milk Stout or something like that. I think you've played with them before. Nice couple. I think they're from the area. They're from town. And just a really, really nice couple. And great sense of humor, like in the gutter. Like they line up well with this show. I don't know if they fish at all. If they do, I told them to listen to this, and I'll get to that in a second. So they had logged in with a team called Whales Have No Gag Reflex. That was their team name. And they were seated, you know how Lisa in there has those two church pews up against the wall, and I stand right in between them?
Yes.
And there's those small tables, those little two tops that are off to either side. Well, they're sitting at one of those. And so they log in, and I was like, are you guys the Whale Gag Reflex? Is that you guys? And they're like, yeah. So I made a comment, and I was like, well, they say that the oceans are salty for a reason. And then it just went downhill from there. Like, it went downhill from there. And so what did he say? He goes something about whale ejaculate, and it just hit me as I was just about to say something on the mic. Like I was just about to intro like the first batch of teams that had logged in, and I was like, I couldn't like not laugh. It was ridiculous. I didn't tell anybody about what it was or anything like that. I was just like, oh, they just hit me with some shit over here, so we'll get to that in a minute. And I told him I actually set a reminder on my phone for Sunday at 8 p.m. to mention whale ejaculate on the show in the intro. And then last night, because last night got rat fucked and totally, I had to go back and change that reminder to this morning so that I could deliver for them. You know, for whales have no gag reflex. And that's what it was. It was when I said whales have no gag reflex, and they would say, ask how I know. And I'm like, no. No.
I am so glad you didn't mention any of this beforehand because, man, that was out of left field. I'm glad you hit me with it.
And that was my gift to you. And
thank you.
And Gravy. I know Gravy's in here watching, or I think he might be in and out because I think he's working. This is a weird time to do this recording because I know a lot of our regular jig heads that are available on a Sunday night and like to kind of get that in. They have day jobs. They have actual careers, real lives. They not like me. You know what I mean? Here we are. We run taxi services in the early afternoons, in the mornings, and then we basically take care of the house. Pretty much. I do a terrible job of it, by the way, which my wife reminds me of constantly. Oh, Jerry Howe's in the house. He says, hey, guys, Jerry, how are you, buddy? You must be getting psyched for some ice. That's got to be up your way happening soon, if not right now, actually. I did see some ice forming along the river in different spots, like along the banks, and I'm like, yeah, that's going to kill it for me. Right after I went and I bought an entire store's stock of blade baits.
Yeah. And we have ice on our pond. I'll probably check it in a couple of days. And then looks like by this weekend the temperatures for this week are going to be pretty nasty, and we might be in for some ice fishing this weekend. I do have basketball this weekend, so we'll see how
it's got to fit in.
Well, also how the schedulers are affected by COVID. The league has been losing a lot of games and a lot of teams, temporarily. Obviously, you don't just get bounced from the league for having COVID infections on your team. But,
yeah, exactly.
A lot of games got lost last weekend, so this wave is happening, and
now they're trying to play catch up, right?
Well, just playing it safe. It's just like, well, if somebody on your team has COVID, your team's not playing that day, and we'll see you next week. Well, I get it.
And from the way it looks, at least last night when I checked, it looks like Saturday night into Sunday. See, already it's starting to change. We're supposed to get some snow going into Sunday. So, cool. I mean, that could, I don't know if what your game, how that works. Although it says actually we're supposed to get some, it looks like about in the evening, Saturday night. It's supposed to dump.
I could see. I got to see what the schedule is and see where it's going. But I'd like to get out at least one time. I got that nice new drill attachment for my auger, so I can.
I want to go too. I got some nice new wool socks, so I'm in a good spot for all that stuff. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Fucking Bobby is ready this year.
I'm ready. Fire up the paella. Let's do it.
Yeah, and you know what I found out is a very effective ice fishing outfit now.
What's that?
Less than $10 pair of Russell sweatpants from Walmart, and then a pair of rain pants.
Oh yeah, I could see that for sure.
I went out yesterday. It was freezing yesterday, and I went out in that. I was like, wow. We actually went yesterday, a little family movie trip because we're all into the MCU. So we finally caught Spider-Man, and it was good. We did that. So that was our trip out yesterday. Did have basketball on Saturday too. So we did have our game. It was an away game. Our gym. Unfortunately, we had so many teams in our organization have folks with COVID that we had no home games this weekend. Usually we have home games one of the days, and we went to our away game, and I have not coached the kids in a game in almost 2 years now because we lost the whole last season. So it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So we got out there on the court. Now, the last time I coached these kids, they were sixth graders. And now they're eighth graders. So some of them have, been
mustaches.
slapped in the face by, Oh, the mustaches are everywhere, but slapped in the face by Mother Nature. Now, where that's come in is a couple of kids that, were middling in height are now gigantic.
Yeah.
So I have like a twin towers set up where I've got my center and my power forward they're my guys. And my power forward, he's a baseball player. So he never, he's playing to stay in shape and have fun with his friends. And he has developed a tendency to block shots like Shawn Kemp in 1993. He hit one. Some kid drove baseline on him on the other team, and he slapped this ball like a volleyball spike out of bounds, and it sounded like a gunshot going off his arm.
Yeah, you told me about that. That's crazy.
Oh my God, the whole gym went silent for about 3 seconds. I was like, wow, that was amazing. So it was.
You didn't start a slow clap like.
No, you can't, because that other poor kid. Nobody was. I think everybody felt bad for him. It was vicious. It was absolutely vicious. Any basketball fans out there will know, like, one of my favorite block shots to watch of all time, I believe it was in the early 90s. Clyde Drexler, when he was playing for the Portland Trailblazers, drove the lane on a fast break, and Shawn Kemp caught up to him, and Clyde went up a little too lazy for Shawn Kemp, and Shawn Kemp deposited the ball on a volleyball spike into the fourth row. It was awesome, and that's pretty much what happened the other day. But it's fun. So we'll see how the season goes. I mean, this is again probably my swan song with coaching. So I'm glad the kids are
Giants.
Bigger, better, and this one might be fun. I was expecting to kind of scratch out a couple wins, and we still might. I don't know, but this will be fun. So we'll have a good time with it. And the other part of my week, I do want to throw out there real quick. So my oldest son has taken up skiing for high school, which is good. He's staying active, and he doesn't play basketball in the winter. And with a small school, they don't have a ton of winter sports. They don't have a hockey team or anything like that. And he did play hockey in his youth, but stopped. So he's gone skiing over the years with my wife and his brother. Just doing their thing, and my youngest snowboards. So when it came down to this, I said, would you like to do skiing? Because his soccer coach is also the ski team coach. Works out perfect. Nice continuity, small ski team, good to go, right?
Yep.
So we, with my lack of knowledge of skiing, I've never gone skiing. I've never snowboarded. I don't know my ass from a hole in the ground when it comes to mountain sports, shall we say. My wife took point, went out, got him all the equipment, went to a local place called Competitive Edge, which also has Competitive Edge is like, do they own Fat Tracks? Is that Fat Tracks is the
I think there was a merger.
And,
I think that's what it was. Yeah, I think Fat Tracks was like bought, and then something crazy, something nuts. So for reference for everyone out there, Fat Tracks was a snowboarding and skateboarding shop that opened up in the early 90s, because one of my buddies, one of me and Nelson's closest friends actually worked there in high school. Yep.
And since then they've been taken over by a company called Competitive Edge. Mm-hmm. Fat Tracks' name's still on the sign, so is Competitive Edge. Now they do snowboarding, skateboarding, skiing. I'm sure there's hiking stuff in there. I didn't really look around. But long story short, after the first on-slope practice, because the weather has been so warm, the kids haven't been able to practice on the slopes. They've been doing cardio and running around the gym or whatever. They had their first on-slope practice, and the coach came up to me afterwards and said, "Hey, so here's an issue with the skis and the boots." I said, "Oh shit. Okay. I don't know anything about this." So I went back to Competitive Edge this weekend, had a quick talk with them. They asked who his coach was, and then said, basically, come back tomorrow and everything will be all set. We're going to do all this because the skis have only been used once. We're going to do all the swap over and refund or whatever we have to do. And really, just awesome customer service, because really they didn't have to do that.
No.
We got the skis unknowing and used them once, and they could have said, "Sorry, you got to buy a new pair." But no, they took care of they took care of business. Well, they didn't hook us up. They just had really awesome customer service. They don't know me from a hole in the ground.
That's half the battle.
I don't drop the Shawn the Fisherman card. They're gonna be like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Be like,
they're like,
we
know Joe Brown."
Yeah, we know Joe Brown, and they're like, "Who the fuck is Joe Brown?" It's funny, man, when it comes to like businesses, because I'm going to touch on that a little bit with my week in review. It's so like It's ridiculous, but that's the difference is the customer service, the experience that somebody has dealing with you, problem or not. I mean, it's like that's what it is. We got OG Scuba Fishing jumping in here in the comments, and he says to this, you guys can chime in if you want. Hey, fellas, I released a 6-pounder this morning. Didn't have to catch it first, though. Does that count? If it was a 6-pounder, the only thing I would be concerned with is maybe call your doctor. That's significant, man. Yikes.
I have so many comments, and I'm just gonna be G-rated today.
And then he follows by saying, Bobby, just had my weekly seizure thanks to your background. Well, that's how we do it in the disco dungeon. That's how it works here. But yeah, getting back to customer service and everything, it's a huge deal. It really is because, it's really what separates the customer's experience from just ordering online. You know what I mean? Yep. And then the same can almost be said for that. But realistically, if you were like, oh, we got to buy a new set of skis. Well, then, maybe you do whatever research you need to. You order something online and it shows up or you just go pick it up. But when you have an exchange like that, when there's a problem, it's nice to be able to go and take your stuff and say, hey, for instance, might have been a different situation had I hooked my thumb with one of the cranks I bought from Old Glory Outdoors. I could be like, hey, this thing's defective. You know what I mean? The fish caught me, Joe. The fish caught me. And
then you look at him and you go, who the fuck are you anyway?
Where even am I? And where is your Christmas spirit?
Yep.
But I mean, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that experience says so much. So, my week was kind of lackluster. I mean, coming out of New Year's and everything like that, and I realized this the other day. I was looking at it. I never realized, I can't improve on that. When was the latest in the year you've caught a fish? I caught a fish on December 31st. So, that's it.
Congrats.
That's the pinnacle. That's as far as that can go, which is cool. Very, very cool. But I'm like, wow, that you can't really improve on that unless... the alternative is how early in the year, and January 1st has already gone by. I mean, I think we went out in February, and I got my first fish of the year. If I could get maybe a week or two ahead of that, that'd be cool. But, yeah, so I mean, there was really no fishing going on. I had a couple things that I had on the docket that I needed to work on, and first and foremost was some of the details for the 100th episode recording. That's coming up. I mean, we're recording this today, the day before it gets released on January the 10th, and this puts us under a month out, and we've had a run on some tickets. People have been buying tickets. We've had additional vendors signing up and joining. We got a brand new one. Jig Masters had confirmed, but I had been in touch with a number of other vendors following up, saying that, hey, we have a deadline of about this week, and we got to nail down who our vendors are for this, because some of the stuff we have lined up is pretty awesome. There's obviously going to be, basically we're going to have this packet of swag from all these companies and stuff that everybody will have available, everybody who attends the show. And everybody who's got a ticket is basically going to get assigned a number. And that number is going to be your place in our drawing for our game show that we're doing at the end. We're doing a deal or no deal type parody, and it's going to be pretty amazing. And we've got some awesome prizes on there. We've got stuff from Klondike Custom Creations. We've got stuff from Hookset Hoodlums. We've got stuff from Naqua. Great stuff from Naqua. And I've got more information about Naqua in just a minute. We also have, who else is on there? We got Old Glory Outdoors, Three Bells Outfitters. We've got Jig Masters. They're on there. Jig Masters is the newest one to get on. In fact, you're going to hear Cody coming up next episode. We're scheduled to record an interview. So all things, if everything works out and we get this recording done this week, then you'll hear from him next week. He actually had mentioned specifically, this is going to be an interesting interview. He's got some cool stuff he wants to talk about. And I like Cody. Not only as an angler and as a content creator for his brand and everything, but as a businessman. I like what he does. I like what Jig Masters is all about. Who else is on here that's also confirmed? We got Jighead, we got Naqua, we got so right now I'm waiting on 4 other companies to confirm. It should be pretty good. Oh, look at this. We got an Indiana boy jumping in here. He says, "Hi, my name is Rod, and I'm here to party." Yes, you are, Rod. You are. R&R Outdoors. Go follow R&R Outdoors on the gram. Go ahead and follow OG Scuba Fishing too. OG Scuba Steve. Damn. Follow these guys. Show them some love. So after doing all of that, like that sort of foundation, like housekeeping stuff for that show and putting some things together, my wife all week, that was her week back to work. She's a school nurse, and she's had a lot to fucking deal with. As far, you know what I'm saying? And last week was ridiculous. And we had some weather on Friday, and they had a snow day. And it was much needed. So she took Friday and kind of was, I think she had a meeting she had to attend online. And that was basically it. So we took Friday, we ran some errands together, we ran out and we got coffee and stuff and all that jazz. It was a nice day. And I told her, I said, you know what? I go, you don't have anything going on Saturday night. Let's go out. Let's go out for dinner and let's go to the casino. She said, "Oh yeah, that sounds great." So I invested some time with my wife, and we went out. We had an awesome dinner at Max's Tavern. I had never been there before. I had a steak, and my wife had, I forget exactly what she ordered. It was pretty amazing though. Cocktails were out of this world. She's a big gin drinker. She had this one cocktail called a blackberry. No, what was it called? A gin and jam is what it was called. It was basically gin with a blackberry preserves and elderflower, and she liked that. But she also likes Negronis, which are gin with Campari and I think orange. I think it's got a twist of orange in there as well. She likes gin and she likes the bitter stuff, so it's like right up her alley. And then we went and made a little donation to MGM Springfield is what we ended up doing. We were actually going to go to Mohegan, but by the time I had decided to take a nap in the afternoon because I had assumed we were going to be out crazy late, and I overslept. So I got up and I hit the shower and everything, and she's like, "Well, let's just go in Springfield. We'll save the driving around." So that's what. Actually, we're out by your area, Shawn, initially because we wanted to go and grab a burger at Murphy's, and they were just jammed. We're just like, they're all packed. So we went over to Max's. We had dinner. We went over to MGM. We had a good time. We lost a lot of money. I'm not even going to try and bullshit about that. Like, we lost a lot of money. When we go and we gamble, all we do is we play slots and stuff. But I'll tell you what, since we came back from Vegas, right, last summer when I did that convention, since we got back from Vegas, that show was meh. But the week that I spent out there with Holly was absolutely awesome. We, again, lost a ton of money gambling because we're just not good at this thing. But since then, we started watching, and this sounds so stupid. One of the things that we'll just put on like blindly when we're just hanging out is this YouTuber called Vegas Low Roller. And basically what he does is he just throws in like $100 into a slot machine and then plays it, and it just records what's going on. So it's kind of like, it's the dumbest thing you've ever seen. I can never make fun of like kids that watch people play video games ever again. I can't. You know what I mean? It's so stupid. It's so stupid. I'm saying that. It is stupid. So we go and we're at MGM walking around, and there's, different slot machines that we've seen, and we're like, oh yeah, that's right, this one has this bonus and it works this way, such and such. Oh, we should go and check this out. And we had a great time with it. I was on a little bit of a run. I was ahead for a little while, and it was so funny because my wife and I stupidly will pick machines right next to each other because we're enjoying our company together, our time together. We're not like degenerate gamblers that are like, you go here, I'll see you tomorrow. That's it's not how we do it. So we go and we pick a machine, and we'll sit there and, I'll get a bonus, and, I've got I'll win like 70 or 80 bucks, 150 bucks, something like that. And I don't even have to look at her to know that her eyes are rolling out of her head. Like, I don't even have to see it. I know. And she's just like pissing money away like crazy. And I'm just like, hey, just lower your bed a little bit or bump it up if it's been a little stale for a while. Like mix it up a little bit. But there's no strategy with that shit. There is none.
Like you're actually doing something that's causing you to win this money.
Yeah, exactly. Like somehow it's my fault. You know what I mean? But I get it. That's what marriage is. But getting back to the customer service thing. So like any, like tradition for us is usually to grab a bite to eat later in the evening when we have our date nights or something. So she was like, I'm kind of in the mood to live Moss. Let's run for the border. Or as I like to say, run for the toilet. So
I was going to make a toilet joke, but you beat me to it. Thank you.
Yeah, well, so we get there and we go and, when I say customer service, this is what drives me bananas. Like when, and especially like a situation like a Taco Bell, like with a drive-thru where there's a screen, you know what I mean? And you can see what's being entered in on the order. And then when you get a receipt and it's there, and then you open the bag and it's not all there, like you had one job. Put the things in the bag that matched what was on the list. You know what I mean? And it just, like, after the week she had, I was like, really? Like, this is where we're going to drop the ball at the fucking drive-thru? Really? I'm like, there's so little in her life that really just kind of makes her happy. I'd like to just check off this Saturday night without it being like an eye roll moment. I was like, God damn. I felt so bad for her. I was like, that sucks. So, hey, it is what it is,
Well,
especially with the way some of these jobs are paying these days. I don't even want to open up that can of worms, but you know what I mean? Come on.
Well, yeah, I know, but it's all relative as far as
it is
with jobs.
Yeah, no,
yeah. Well, I guess the only things I could say is to that story, or the only thing I could say is, just, for God's sakes, don't go to Taco Bell.
Well, when it's 11:30 at night, your options are very limited. That's the whole thing. And when you're just trying to make your old lady happy, we got Lockwood in the house. He says, "Mr. Beef Stretch, how you doing? Good morning." And he comments and follows up. It says that he had a Mexican try to sell me his sister in Vegas. He said, "Migo Chuwana buy my sister. I had to ask how much, and I felt it was a bit low for a human." Wow. Wow.
Nice dodge on the human trafficking there, Lockwood.
Yeah, that's really, that could have been a sting operation, Lockwood. You never know. That was a good play on your end. My God. I need a shower after reading that. That is disgusting.
Wow. Let's shift gears to something a little more productive.
Let's do that. A little
Lockwood's near miss human trafficking stories.
Lockwood's felonies. Let's move on.
Yeah, a little bit of a hot topic today. We've been talking about this one for a couple of weeks. And I crunched all my numbers, just some notable ones from the 2021 season. I just like to share them with everybody. This isn't me patting myself on the back kind of thing. I'm going to give you guys information, and whatever you do with it, I guess. I know what I do with my information.
You guys should do exactly what I'm going to do with it. Take this information and measure it up against yours and kind of get an idea of, see if you see any patterns.
Well, I mean, you can, but I think, everybody's going to be different. I guess.
That's the thing. Everybody will be different, but like take a look at the categories of what you're about to put out there, and like take a look at your own and see where your numbers are, and see if you can learn from it.
Yeah, and two I think important things that I didn't put out there were days I had time to fish and actual hours on the water, which I do track. I just didn't I didn't do all the math on that because what's the point? So 2021, Shawn the Fisherman, by the numbers. I caught 803 fish, which is down 109 from 2020. So I had a, shall we say, lesser year.
Yep.
Out of those 803, 4 of them were saltwater.
Oh, that's it.
799 freshwater fish.
Nice.
The first fish I landed was on March 10th. The last fish I landed was November 6th. So really, I didn't fish, didn't fish or didn't catch any in January and February, and very few in November and none in December. So I fished 2/3 of the year, and I still got those numbers.
Yeah.
Out of that 799, my top 5 categories, I'll start with the lowest. I caught 38 chain pickerel, which actually is really bizarre because it was down almost 100 from the year before.
Yeah.
So like that's nuts to
Really?
me. Like I usually catch a lot of pickerel, and I did not this year. Fourth place, I caught 43 northern pike, which that number tends to go up and down every other year. So the year prior, I only caught 5 of them because I didn't go to Minnesota. Last year I went to Minnesota, I caught more pike. Just makes sense, right? This year was a big one. I caught 68 smallmouth bass, which is up 34 from last year. And the past 2 years, the past 2 years have been my best Massachusetts and New England smallmouth numbers, because the only other year I really hit smallmouth was 2012, and I went to the Shenandoah River and caught like 75 of them in a week.
Okay.
But like normally I catch under 10, and in the past 2 years I've got 30 now, almost 70. Here's a weird one, but because I'm catching so many smallmouth, this is going to go right along with them. The second most number of fish I caught this year was 72 rock bass.
Oh, okay.
Yep. That was up 66 from last year because, again, I'm starting to get more into smallmouth. I mean, all those rock bass at Champlain, Candlewood, and Winnipesaukee.
I was going to say Winnipesaukee.
Yeah. I wasn't trying for that. Now, so you guys know all those 4 numbers put together. I'm going to round, okay? So that's about 40, there's 80, 150, 200, 220 fish, right? Out of those 4, I caught 505 largemouth this year.
Wow.
So the other 4 don't even add
fish.
Up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So that was good. On the personal best front, all right, I set 4 single fish personal best for myself. Again, I go by length. I know some people use weight. I've expressed my opinion on the weight thing numerous times over, and you can take that as you will. But my new personal bests, the 34-inch carp from Candlewood, that guy, he was fun. That is without a doubt the heaviest freshwater fish I've caught too. I'm estimating 20 to 25 pounds, whatever. I'll call it 25. That was a fat carp. Also from Candlewood, a 20.25-inch smallmouth. So I finally broke 20 with smallmouth, and I broke it like 4 times this year.
That's awesome.
Then some fun stuff, and I had a laugh at this last one. But right before that, I caught a 14-inch yellow perch, which for whatever reason I never caught one bigger. I don't know why. Maybe through the ice,
that's a big yellow perch, though. Yeah,
I tend not to measure them through the ice. But rod and reel, and then all those years screwing around in the Chicopee River, and I never measured a fall fish. Maybe I should have, because my record is 12.75 that I've measured. I know I've caught bigger than a 12.75-inch small fall fish. They're out there. As far as totals go, so I caught 2 bullheads this year, which is rare for me. I never catch catfish unless they whack a lure accidentally, which 2 of them did. So I got 2 of those. This is the only year I can ever remember catching carp in my database years here.
Yep.
I got 2 fall fish, 2 flukes, 2 rainbow trout, 1 tiger trout, which was a tie, and I got 2 sea robin, and then the aforementioned 72 rock bass. Now, for some tourney information, we had one show, was it last year or the year before, where I talked about my measuring stick for a tourney fish is usually a 17-incher.
Yeah. Yep.
17 inches and up, you're starting to talk about fish that are going to really
make an impact, right?
You're going to hope are going to make an impact. Yeah. If you get a 17-inch fish, you're always at the mercy of everyone else around you, but
you got a shot.
Yeah, exactly. So I caught 33 black bass, smallmouth and largemouth together, over 17 inches this year, which is actually cut in half from 2020, and the same number was in 2019. So 2019 to 2020, I caught 64 each year, and this year I went down to 33, and I think that has to do with me trying a lot of new water this year, where 2019 to 2020, I was staying in my comfort zones, and you're going to get used to, they're not, I don't like the term honey holes, but like places that I'm comfortable with, and I know a lot more about and how to catch bigger fish at those places. Right. So 33, again, that dropped from last year. And then as far as tourney results, so I participated in 11 online tourneys and 15 in-person tourneys. On the online tourneys, Bobby Roast Beef, how many out of the 11 did I come in the money in?
I'm not sure.
I got 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5. Yeah, so it's tough. I mean, that's in the money. That can count first, second, third, or if it was handing out anything else. I think a lot of them were first, second, third because most of those were jigs and bigs and chronic trips. And then as far as in-person tourneys, I did 15 and I came in the money in 6.
Nice.
So as far as tournament
That's pretty
fees,
good, man. That's almost 50%.
Yeah, tourney fees and money I took in this year. What's the term? I was in the black, right? Is that the term? In the black? Yeah. So I made back what I put in. And then on top of that, the announcement will be coming soon. And well, we already talked about it quite a bit, but I did make Angler of the Year for the inaugural season for the Western Division. So that was me by the numbers this year.
Lockwood makes jumped in with a comment here pretty early in your stats there, and I want to make sure we mention it. He goes, Shawn, do you keep a mental log of how many fish you catch in any given day and then record it later, or do you have a means of tracking it as you're fishing? If it's the latter, what's your method? Watch this, Lockwood.
Lockwood, I have an all-weather notebook that you can buy. I think they're 3 for $10 on Amazon. I open them up. I write down the day, the weather conditions, and then the fish, the time, the species, the length, and what I caught it on.
Yep.
Every fish, smallest bluegill, biggest carp, every one. And then when I get home, I have a database. I have a large and growing Excel file that I add every line to. That way, I know what I've caught where pretty much every fish since 2012. Yeah. 2012 or 2009. Was it 2009?
I think that spreadsheet is imperative. Putting something like that together, that's how you're going to really hone your data. Collecting your data is going to vary, based on person to person. I like to use technology when I'm doing it. That's a major reason why I like to use Angler, because it's just, dropping waypoints and marking catches by clicking a button that I have on me. And then I get all of that information, regarding weather and, wind, basically the conditions that apply to it, and then I can take that data and then input it into the spreadsheet. I, of course, say all this. Nothing is put into that spreadsheet yet. That's what I'm doing this winter, is taking that data and then moving it over, because I have now we're in 2022, so now I don't have to worry about catching anything up for 2021. So I'll be doing that this week.
I do it right when I get home. If I'm on a weekend trip or something, I do it immediately when I get home. It's one of the first things I do. Put everything away, sit down with a soda or coffee, and just go to town, and then it's done. It's really ingrained in me now, where I just do it. And the database I have is the database I have is incredibly comprehensive. Cody, yes, I do. Cody is asking if both of us keep track of moon phase. Yep. I particularly do. I know Cody's a new moon or a full moon guy. I am a new moon guy. I have very, very little success in full moons. New moons, I do a lot better.
And I'm really not into Twilight at all, to tell you the truth. It's not my thing. I don't like books that are for 15-year-old girls. That's just me.
We went there, huh?
We did. We went there.
We did. Yes.
No, well, it's funny. I do like to pay attention just to see if I can find the pattern as to what is better for me for what. Regarding full moon, new moon, half moon, waning, and crescent.
To fully go deeper into that, I actually use the exact moon phase of the day.
Yeah.
Which you can get on numerous spots, So if it's waxing crescent at 2%, I put that in there. And then I have some things that I've noticed over time that I really pay attention to. So it helps me plan out my fishing trips. You know what I mean? To try and get on those big ones. But this year's going to be a different year for me because I think I mentioned, and this shouldn't be super news, but I'm going to be, well, we talked about this last week, right? With my plans for this year I'm really focusing on in-person events this year.
Yeah.
And while I still will continue to have a hand in the directing of both the jigs and bigs and the chronic trips, and the MAKB knockout I'll be running too. I will be really, aside from that, even the knockout's kind of an in-person. I'm really focusing on in-person events, which we'll get into a little more in the tournament section, because I have a lot of information for everybody out there in the New England looking to get out on a kayak and do some of that shit.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, good stuff. Very, very good stuff. What else do we have to get to for this segment, or have we hit this thing out of the park? Oh, I see what we have.
Yeah,
I know. Just as a reminder, guys, a couple of things. So before we go to break, in our next segment we have coming up, there was a video that was released by Chad Hoover. Chad Hoover, of course, runs KBF, and there's been a rule change, specifically in hand placement of the fish for your photographs, for what's acceptable. They did a great job being clear about where is the no-go zone. There's an image that they put together, and this has been all over the place. People have been talking about this change for a while. We're going to talk about it, and Shawn's going to weigh in. He's got some info, some good stuff. And then in our FTG segment this week, we've got a good one. We're going to be talking about. Well, it gets into money. It really does. And perception. A lot of things came into. I was really excited when this came along because I was like, I had a feeling something like this was gonna pop eventually. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how that goes. We got a new comment coming in here. Oh, look at this. We got all kinds of people here. We got the Butcher in here. We got Ryan Bogley, the Butcher. Hang on, Shawn. You do it the best. Yeah, Butcher. There we go. Look at that. Just got a bunch of hoodlums in here tonight.
I know.
This
We're
morning.
very hoodlum heavy in the morning. Is that what we do in the mornings, though?
Maybe that's our thing. Maybe that's just what we do. Maybe that's the way it should be. I don't know, but just another reminder for you guys. Before we get into that segment with Just the Tip and FTG, we do want to let you guys know that we got a bunch of stuff happening. First and foremost is that we've got tickets available for the Jigs and Bigs live show that's happening on February the 5th. Now, there's been a lot of talk about this show in the Hookset Hoodlums Pro Staff chat. I know, in fact, I think on the Hoodlum cast, they did some talking about it as well, if I'm not mistaken. I know Delirious is basically waiting to see a weather report, whether or not he'll be able to make it up to the show. But the show's coming up. Tickets are they're kind of at a premium right now because we did have a run on some tickets. We have a bunch of people that are getting theirs. You're definitely going to need a ticket in advance in order to be able to do this, because in order to pull it off, we have to have a number of how many people are there. We only have a certain amount of seats. So definitely go ahead and track and get your tickets. You can get them at jigsandbigs.com. There's a little banner right on the main landing page for the 100th episode live show. Go ahead, click that sucker. You get your tickets through Eventbrite. It's a $10 ticket. Eventbrite does add some fees. I think it's like $275 or something like that they add to it. But not only is this ticket just your way in, but it's also a donation that's going, a portion of it's going to make Massachusetts fishing spots great again. This whole event is basically us getting revved up for and adding to the donation that we're making to them that night. We're presenting Make Massachusetts Fishing Spots Great Again with a giant check, literally, like it's right. It's actually right in front of me. We just have to fill the thing out. It's going to be great. Go ahead and check it out. You guys are absolutely going to love it. That said, we also have just a reminder that we have our Spotify playlist on there. You guys can go ahead and give that a listen if you like. The fishing report has been coming out bi-weekly. I would expect with the weather that we're going to experience this week, you will probably see a lot more ice reports and just more action in general. Now that winter has arrived, winter is in full swing right now. We're talking single-digit lows for tonight and into tomorrow morning. It's going to be chilly. It's going to be really chilly. So that's gonna definitely help the situation there. So the fishing report coming out, you guys are absolutely going to love that. There is Jigs and Bigs merch available for you guys at jigsandbigs.com.
Bobby, real quick on that Jigs and Bigs merch.
Hit me.
Just the our page itself on Mantis has been down for a day. So I have to check if that's back up. If it's not back up, I will give them a call. I don't know if it was routine maintenance or not, but somebody did get actually it was Tim O'Keefe alerted me last night. I don't know.
Oh, really?
I said, Tim, I'm sorry you can't spend that $300. So you're just dying to drop into Jigs and Bigs. But so keep an eye on that. If it is down, check back within a day or two, and we'll make sure that it's up.
Yeah, it is still down.
Oh, okay.
So as
all right, so
as the time that we're recording this, it is still down. So we're gonna have to go and get that handled. But jigsandbigs.com, you can get to your merch once that store is up and running. Go ahead and get that stuff, and of course, Instagram giveaways. 2 things on Instagram giveaways. First and foremost is that Shawn is edging ever closer to that mark of 1,000 followers. As his number continues to get closer and closer and closer, that means we're closer and closer and closer to another giveaway, and that's going to be amazing for everybody involved. You guys can go ahead and get yourself some win some amazing stuff from some of our amazing partners that we've been working on for the giveaways. But on top of that, what I want to add is this: we had an amazing experience with doing the giveaway with Lockwood. Like, really, really cool. So I want to throw out a little call to action for content creators. If you're a content creator, you have a Jigs and Bigs. If you have an Instagram page, or you have a YouTube channel or something like that, and you would like to partner on a giveaway where we can sort of work together and announce the winner and do such and such, reach out to us, because there's a lot that we can do, even if it's so much as getting kind of game showy with like choosing winners and such and such. We'd love to do it. It could be really, really awesome. So reach out to us. Of course, you can always hit us with a DM on Instagram. That's one easy way to do it. Just follow Jigs and Bigs on Instagram. Send us a DM if you're organizing any kind of a giveaway. We'd love to get involved with that. Also, you can... Well, actually, you know what, Shawn? While we're talking about giveaways, I think I'm going to do in an upcoming show. I think I'm going to do a Just the Tip that's going to be about running an Instagram giveaway, like why you do it, how you should set it up, and what you should really expect from it. Like what it's all about. That might actually be a really good one. I think we should definitely put that on the calendar at some point. With that said, guys, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back with more Jigs and Bigs, Just the Tip, right after this. Jigs and Bigs is proud to announce we're being supported by Old Glory Outdoors. They're a veteran-owned company that carries fishing and hunting gear. Plus, they're highly active in supporting veteran organizations and charities. Old Glory is an authorized dealer of favorite rods, FX rods, Googan baits, X-Zone lures, Sixth Sense, and many more. There's a brick-and-mortar store located in East Brookfield, Massachusetts, but you can also order online at oldgloryoutdoors.com. They ship anywhere in the lower 48 states, or order online and pick up at the store. When you order, use the promo code Jigs and Bigs, and you'll save 10% off your complete order. Plus, you'll help support the show. Make sure to check out the apparel line called OGO Gear while you're there. Old Glory Outdoors believes in the slogan "Start 'em young" to keep kids away from screens and enjoying nature. They've got a full array of live bait too. Check out oldgloryoutdoors.com and use the promo code Jigs and Bigs. Save some money and gear up now. Hey guys, I often get a lot of really good feedback about my beard. Lots of times people actually will ask about what I use for beard care products too. For a long time, it was nothing other than a brush. But things have changed and my beard is styled better and much healthier than it's ever been before. The main reason for this is that I started using beard care products from livebearded.com. Right now, I'm using Live Bearded's beard wash, the conditioner, oil, and the beard butter. I'm also using their bar soap too. In all in matching scents, I should add. The products are 100% natural and they don't leave your beard feeling weighted down or crusty. I've discovered livebearded.com on Instagram and ordered their sample pack of 6 different scents to figure out which one I like the best. I really enjoy the Gunslinger and American scents most. I've been using the sample kit and I really enjoy it, and I've upped it and gotten a full lineup of all their products in the scents that I like. I realized the level of quality that wasn't there in other products that I've tried before. It really did make a huge difference. So I've got a special offer for you. Visit livebearded.com and use my code ROASTBEEF, all one word with no spaces, and you'll receive a 10% discount on your order at checkout. Try the sampler kit for just $10 or go all out and get the full lineup of great products. There's kits available too, and they're great for gifts. And you can even sign up for a subscription. Save a little bit of money, and you'll also find that you won't run out of your favorite beard care products. Check out livebearded.com right now and use the promo code ROASTBEEF to save some cash and look like the epic beardsman you are.
Bobby and Shawn now have a special presentation for us all. They'd like to give everyone just the tip.
Yeah. Here we are. It's just the tip. This is how you know we've matured a little bit, because we didn't explode into laughter immediately after that intro. We're getting there, Shawn. Adulting.
It's also the morning, so we have to keep that in mind.
Too. That's true, too.
And end of the day, we might be a little more insane and prone to laughing at that shit. You never know.
That's a good point.
Today's just a tip is based off the KBF video that Chad Hoover just put out. Obviously, I'll be fishing, I think, up to 3. Let's get grammatically correct. Up to 3 events for KBF this year, because they're wrapped in with the EKF events, and we'll get a little bit into that in the tournament time here in within this segment. But there's a major change going forward with the way fish are put on boards. Now, in the past, it has been okay to have your hand on top of the fish's gill plate, but not underneath it. Okay, so the big change is you have to keep your hand off the gill plate. I think last year still had the rule where you can't have your hand on the tail. So now it's just you've got to hold the fish's body. And out of curiosity, I went and looked back at some of my pictures from last year to see, well, just absentmindedly, I'm like, I think I do that, but am I sure? And I looked at mine, and I'm now in the habit of it, apparently, because I didn't see one single picture that would have been judged wrong based on hand position, obviously, and mouth open, right?
Yep.
So I was dead in between. I wasn't on top of the gill plate. Now with smaller fish, it got a little difficult. Sometimes I you're saying we're adulting. Sometimes I had to give a fish 3 fingers instead of the whole hand.
Yeah. Sometimes,
Yeah, but it is more difficult with smallmouth. They get a little pissed off. They don't like being on the board.
It's true.
And sometimes you can't go with the whole hand. You got to go with a few fingers. So that's coming up for anybody who's fishing KBF.
Yep.
And by proxy, the EKF and MAKB, because they adopt those rules unless there's a rule change. But again, this will always come back to read the rules before you get into a tournament.
Oh,
so that's
you got to know what you're getting into. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, with that said, is this going to affect the Jigs and Bigs tournaments?
I hope so.
Okay. Why
not? I mean,
yep.
We should. Let's. There's a standard out there. Let's use it.
So I have. There was one thing that had. This obviously some people are really fired up about this. Chad Hoover had. He did some shit. He did some shit to get information to how some of these folks were. Basically what he did was he uncovered some cheating stuff. And there were some accusations that had been made toward one specific angler, and he reached out to this angler, and he kind of, there was no recourse. He couldn't actually take anything. But basically what he said was like, I'm going to continue further prosecution into this, if such and such, but I'm going to wipe that slate clean if you tell me how you did it. And basically tell me everything about it.
I think the nice wording he used in particular was, look, we're going to talk and I won't prosecute you.
Exactly. That's basically what it got down to. But he didn't know. Great.
Yeah, the guy didn't know that he couldn't prosecute him.
There was nothing he could do. So he got this information, and basically what was happening, I mean, to make a long story short, what he was doing was he was placing something underneath the body of the fish on the board, which was then basically elevating that fish's body up and making it so that am I right in saying this? Like the lateral line was essentially like distorted almost in a way.
Yes. So it was lifted. It was the item that angler had apparently used were 3 wrapped AA batteries.
Yep.
So
but it could be anything about that size.
Yeah. Exactly. Anything that would fit under the fish and not be seen. So he wrapped them under there. And when the fish was distorted like that, all the identifying features were now null and void. So the lateral line spots were not shown because the scales were not in the same position they were.
And they're reflecting light differently as well.
Yes. Yeah. In effect, it made the fish smaller, but it looked like a different fish.
Yeah. So you can enter it twice.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to know. I was like, what? I get what he's saying, but he wasn't, at least when I had gone through it, unless I missed it, he didn't actually say that these were like getting entered multiple times. Yeah. It's nuts. So it's like, I mean, people are dude, I host trivia and bars for low value gift cards. Like, people will cheat for that shit, or they'll try to cheat for that shit. If you have, hundreds of dollars on the line that you could potentially win or more at some of these higher level tournaments, the motivation is there. So it's like, now the good news is that Fishing Chaos specifically is taking some steps to increase technology to basically tie in with the board so that it's got essentially it's using technology to minimize the amount of cheating that could be going on out there, which I think that's the move. I do have a question for you, Shawn, regarding this. And like with our tournaments, I agree. I think that we should definitely make some sort of a change. Now, the way I have been catching all of my fish and having much more success with getting a good image is I have been covering the fish's eye with my hand. Placing, and I don't actually touch the fish. I just hold it over to block the light, right? Because I feel like when you're touching the fish, that's when they freak out the most. You know what I mean? So that's just from my experience.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I'll cover the fish's eye. They chill. And it's nice. It's this nice meditative. Everything's good, but this gives me a minute to get my camera, put it in the right position, and then what I do is I just slide my hand right over to the middle section of the body. Sometimes I'm on that gill plate, but I'm not touching the fish. Is that the issue? Like, is that going to be an issue?
If your hand's over the gill plate, that would be an issue.
So it's just that it's covering. It's not that it's holding it there. It's literally that it's blocking it. It's from the. Okay, this is one of those times where I'm lucky that I have such freaking tiny baby hands.
That would be my slightly educated guess because the whole point is you want to see the fish's tail because of the tail cheating incident a few years ago where the guy had the cut bass tail and he was putting it onto other fish to extend it and holding the fish by the tail. And then you don't want any of that face, anything from the mouth to the gill plate exposed because you can't see if it's alive or dead at that point. So you want the whole thing because even a fish could look completely alive except for a flared out gill plate. It could be dead.
See, it's interesting because and that's the other element too, like the catch boards. A lot of people look at the catch boards because on the very top of the rail they have markings that line up so that when that board is tilted one way or the other, it shows that it's in that area. So you kind of have it's really a great tool to get an idea of where that board is. Because if those lines don't line up, you know that it's angled down. Like when I measure my fish, oftentimes I like to take the bump board section of the board and have it sloped down. So that way I can put the fish so it's sliding down. And the weight of the fish oftentimes is enough to keep that mouth more closed. I might have to tweak it a little bit, but then I'll cover the eye just to get them to chill while I get my camera ready. I'll move my hand over, boom, snap my picture, and then we're good to go.
Yeah, and there's a great video out there that Ken Wood did of some of his mishaps measuring fish. Now Ken has a reputation for being super fish. Ken has a reputation for being like the fish whisperer when he takes his pictures. So he actually takes it in a vastly different way than most other people. He puts the vertical edge of the measuring board closest to his body and the other edge at his foot. So instead of measuring like I measure perpendicular to that. So I go across. So the front of the fish is at the left and the tail's on the right.
Yep.
Ken does the same. I mean, obviously there's a standard for how the fish is placed on the board, but when he has his board, the face of the fish is facing his crotch and then the tail end is at his feet. So he has a reputation that he gets fish to stay still. He doesn't even use his hands.
Oh, really?
Ken never uses his hands. So it's amazing.
Does he sing like "Bridge Over Troubled Water" to them or something? I mean, what is it? I gotta know. We gotta get this motherfucker on the
go ahead
show.
And watch that YouTube. Go ahead and watch that YouTube video of his, and he sings some words. They're bleeped out, but there's some singing. Let me tell you. So
that's crazy. Lockwood chimes in. He's like, "Wow, devious fuckers," and yeah, it's true. I mean, you put money on the line anywhere. Somebody, it's almost human nature. like, I hate to say this because there's, there was a lot of people who would comment and say, I never thought of that. And the response in this video that Chad had put out was, it's because you're not a cheater, which I get 100%. I completely agree with. But like, I find that once somebody is presented with something, the first thing that they try to do is figure out a way around it. Path of least resistance. You know what I mean? Like, how can so I can do this. How can I make this work for me? This is what the rules say. So this is why, like Shawn says, read the rules. Go over and know what it is that you're dealing with.
Yep. Read the rules. And there was a couple other things in the video that did stick out. Apparently there was some sort of cheating method with the way the fish's mouth was open, and I'd have to rewatch that, and I didn't quite catch what they were getting at. See what I did there? The other thing that I did pick up on that I have a difference of opinion in, I think, with Mr. Hoover's take on this was and that's very polite. I'm not upset about it. I think I've seen different things. He talked about where you actually touch the fish and when you're holding it on the board. And he said, well, look, you're touching in the middle now, and it makes a big difference from touching it on the tail because the fish don't like their tail touched. And I don't think fish like being out of water, period.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think he related it to a better photographing rate. Like he was, if you touch them on the stomach versus the tail, you're going to get they're not going to flip out as much. They're not going to jump the board. Yeah. You're going to have your better photographing rate. I mean, the thing that stuck in my head as soon as I listened to that part was the MAKB Western Division event last year at Washakum, where I caught a fish that I believe was easily 21, if not 22. And I got it all the way to the boat. I netted it. And then I had major issues getting it on the board. I put it back in the net, and then I lost the net into the water completely. It was a shit show. But that fish jumped the board, man. That fish jumped the board twice, and I was just holding it down on its belly. They don't like being held, and they don't like being out of the water, asphyxiating. So
exactly, they want.
I guess it's kind of like, and then you bring smallmouth into the picture, and then you might as well wear fucking goalie gear for hockey or catcher's gear because you don't know where they're going. Regardless of holding. Again, I looked at all my pictures, or a good portion of them, and I'm doing by the book. I kept I think because if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3 years ago, Ken had to DQ one of my fish because my thumb or it was my pinky had gone underneath the gill plate. So I know now to just keep my hands well away from the gill plates. Yeah. So I'm just in the habit of it doing now. So this rule is really not going to affect the way I do things. But one other note that got brought up for this is videotaping your releases. So that's another one. Yeah. Take a picture, go to video, take a video of the fish on the board, you putting the fish in the water, and then you going back to the board to make sure there's no bullshit wrapped up batteries or anything else on there. So that's what they want. That's what they're going to get, I guess.
It's all about just keeping it honest. OG Scuba Steve jumps in with a little comment here that's Pizzagate related. He says, the fish gods punished you for that demon laugh while slaughtering helpless bass.
You know what? I'm going to take the high road on this, Steve.
I would.
There's your freebie because of the immaculate work you did at the OGO Invitational.
Yes.
Sending Lockwood's trailer seaworthy.
Nice.
But that's it. Next one, I light you up, Steve.
Yeah.
I'm watching you.
It's funny when it comes to, the catch photo release stuff. I mean, you're 100% right. Fish just don't like being out of the water, obviously. I have found in my opinion, the larger the fish, and if you move slow enough with them, like you give them some time in the net to kind of chill, and then you bring them up and you measure them, the larger fish are generally a little bit better. I find it's like, like when I measured that 22, she didn't move at all. Like
that was also April in a body of water that was a little cooler. What I mean?
No. Like, that's true too. I guess you're right. But like I have caught 14s that are just like they are piss and vinegar the whole time. And I don't know if it's that they have less body mass to be concerned about moving out of water, and they don't have that home court advantage, so to speak. But I have definitely found that like trying to get them just to chill and give them like measuring pickerel, like I'll work those fish a little bit more to get some of that piss and vinegar out of them. Yeah, Jerry jumps in. He's a small fish suck. I will never forget that video that who was it? Oh, it was Mitch. It was Lip Gripper. He's got video footage of me losing like an 18.5 on a great day right off the board. Flops down onto the base of that. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so glad about the Titan, because with the Ascend, there was such a small amount of ridge that went around the outside to kind of cup that bass. When it hit the floor of that kayak, it was easily able to just flop right out.
Yeah, those Ascends are surfboards, man.
Yeah, they really are, man. Like, you get on top, you're like, wow, there's like nothing around here. In the Titan, it's a whole other animal. I'm really excited about this spring, dude. I don't know if that point has come across yet. I am so excited about this spring. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of, that's just the tip right now. It's like there's new KBF stuff, new KBF rules are out there. I think we're going to post the picture of that. And you'll see they put little red zones of where they basically want to keep clear visibility is really what it gets down to. Keep your hand, if you're going to put it in the picture, like this is especially goes for you guys that like in our tournaments that have the identifier written on the back of your hand has to be in the picture. Make sure that it's in this midsection of their body. Like just aim for the center. Yep. I think that's the best thing you could do. That's the best advice.
Exactly.
That's
maybe we could use that picture as the episode artwork.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I could do that. Why the hell not? I just don't want to get served by KBF for doing so. Although,
I'll draw a penis on it.
There you go. Perfect. Perfect. You finish that up, send it to me. We'll get that out in the episode.
Yeah. On top of it.
So yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, you guys really got to just give yourself the opportunity to don't get your catches disqualified is really what I'm getting at. Pay attention to the rules, be safe, don't cheat. Everybody gets screwed by that. It's not worth it. Are you ready, Shawn?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, do it, Paul.
Fuck that guy.
It's amazing how Paul's able to just slow his voice down for that. It was amazing. That's probably one of the greatest pieces of production that's come across. I don't know about that. It's up there though. It's up. That's a good freaking open. Thank you,
We're
Paul.
We're talking Abbey Road, Phil Spector, Wall of Sound.
Yep.
Paul Roberts.
Yep.
Done.
Yeah. Hands down.
Yep.
So this week we have an FTG that's a doozy. This one comes to us from our good friend, former guest on the show, and upcoming vendor at the 100th episode live show, Matt Thayer, who is the owner proprietor of Klondike Custom Creations. Which, if you remember, Klondike Custom Creations had sent us a little care package of some amazing wire baits that they put out. Like some of these buzz baits are now in my book of my favorite buzz baits to throw. Definitely mixes some stuff up. We got some chatterbaits in there, some spinnerbaits. I caught my very first spinnerbait fish ever on a Klondike Custom Creation spinnerbait. This gorgeous, natural-looking green pumpkin spinnerbait with, I think they're copper blades, like beautiful hammered copper blades. But he had called and left a little bit of a message, which I thought was really interesting. And I'm going to follow up with some info, and we're going to have a little chat. All right?
Bobby and Shawn, what's going on, guys? It's Matt Thayer from Klondike Custom Creations in Little Old Rhode Island. So as you guys know, I make and I sell fishing lures. And I had heard through the grapevine that there was a local that's pretty high up in the tournament bass fishing scene here in Rhode Island, Eastern Connecticut. And he wanted to talk a bunch of shit about how overpriced my fishing lures are. My prices aren't all that bad. I try to get them as low as I can, but they don't really compare to the Chinese bullshit that he wants to compare them to. So if he wants to go buy some Chinese bullshit at Richard's Sporting Goods, I guess let him. But I really don't want him talking shit about how much my baits are. So, yeah, fuck that guy. Hope you guys have a good show.
So this is I was tickled by this when this came through, because nothing gets my goat as a business owner than folks that don't value what I do. And that's exactly what that guy does. He is whining about the prices of the baits that that Matt has to put out there because he doesn't have value in what's what's actually going out there, in what he's putting out there, what he's buying. He is just looking for the most bang for his buck. That's it. And I get it. Like, hey, a deal is awesome. When you can get a deal, it's great, man. It's great. But I'll tell you what, like, what Matt does is not what any of these other companies do. It's totally different. What Matt does is Matt primarily makes custom baits made to order, right? So right there, you're not only just buying a product, but you're buying the man's time and craftsmanship. You're paying somebody to do something that you either cannot or don't have the time to be able to do. And there's value on that. You see what I mean? Like, there's value. So, I mean, there's other options. There's always cheaper options, but pricing your stuff at the bottom of the barrel, of bargain basement prices, just because, number one, there's the cost of what goes in there, the materials to make whatever it is that's being made or produced. Then there's your time. There's basically any of the overhead that goes along with that. And people forget, like, the effort that you put in for marketing, whether you're making posters to hang up at tackle shops if you're in the fishing industry, or you're running paid ads on social media, or maybe you're running, maybe you have a partnership with a podcast and you pay for an ad that's on there, something like that. Whatever it is that you're doing, all of these things get wound into the cost. Like, there's overhead. And, I feel like we gotta get away from this idea of, like, it's bad to make money. Like, when the fuck did it get fucking bad to make a profit? It's like, we all have families that we need to feed. And when we do these things, like, and I want to say, especially when it comes to Matt, like, he does, like, woodworking, furniture, and things like that, like crazy, crazy stuff. And it's like, part of what he's doing is a part of his business. It's maybe it's a side hustle, but that side hustle shouldn't be a loss. If I make a bag of plastics and it costs me $3 to make that bag of plastics, and then I wholesale them out to a retailer to price with whatever they want in their store, because that's how it works. You come up with a price for when you're selling to a retailer. When you're selling direct, you're making your own prices and selling them for what you want. But if I make a bag of plastics, or I make a jig, right, and it costs me X amount to make that jig, and then I just sell it at wholesale. Let's use that I'll use the example of like a bag of plastics, right? And I take that and it costs me $3, but but I wholesale that out for $2.50. I'm immediately losing money. Because it's not, that's assuming I've put in for my time, in doing that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm immediately losing money right out of the gate. And then when the retailer gets it, and I actually did follow up with Matt, and come to find out, this was a situation where the retailer had set a price. And that was the price that homie was complaining about. It's like, it blows my mind. Like, you got to look at the value. You got to look at what it is that you're getting when you make a purchase. And if you're buying from a smaller craft, I don't even want to say boutique, but when you're buying from, especially when you're buying local, if you're buying local, something that's not mass produced, and you have the option of even getting custom stuff, there's going to be a higher dollar value for that kind of item. It's just going to come with it,
Yeah. Larger companies can make things cheaper in larger amounts. Mm-hmm. And I mean, what I don't know what to even say about this. Like, it sounds like this is just one asshole. I completely agree with Matt. Fuck that guy. I mean,
it's bullshit.
Like, if you don't want to buy the baits, you don't have to, but don't be a piece of shit about it.
And the other thing too, this is, if I had any advice for Matt, and he doesn't need this, he knows, but if I had any advice for somebody who's producing a product or providing a service in any kind of a way, it's, my number one lesson is always, you really need to focus on having the thickest skin possible, because everybody's going to come at you with, you know what you got to do, and you know what they're going to tell you? What serves them.
Yep.
They're not going to think about the your customer base as a whole. They're not going to think about the reality of making that happen. They're just concerned with how it serves them. So you really just have to just kind of take it like, you guys are freaking stupid. Lockwood jumps in. He says, if you're good for something, don't do it for free. Yeah, no, you're damn right. Like it's nuts. There is a reel and this sound clip that's on TikTok. Pretty routinely, and I think I can play it. I'd like to. I'm going to look around for this because it's good. It's really good. Let me see. Let me see if I can find this. I'm going to have to look around. I'm going to play it. Hang on. Let me see. Is this it? It probably isn't.
Is it the crack and cocaine song?
Oh, no, it's not. It's this one. This is good. I love this, and I feel like this fits perfectly.
Folks be like, I want to support your business, but your stuff costs too much. If you broke, then just say that. Just say that. It's okay. Just come back when you got it, because I ain't changing my price.
I don't know what that is. But
that noise was from Mario Brothers with the spinning coin block.
That's what I thought. So the thing is that, like, that's exactly what it is. Like, a lot of people complain about your price because they're like, that it just affects them in that instance. It's like, yeah, I can't adjust my rates. I can't lose money just so that you can use my products. What's that going to do, And then there's the other part of it. This is a prominent angler in Rhode Island and Eastern Connecticut who probably feels a little bit entitled to receiving the best rate possible because of the exposure that those products are going to get. But you know what?
Let me guess, this douchebag probably doesn't have any social media accounts.
Exactly. Yeah, but all that exposure. Yeah, you know what I mean? I'll tell you what, I went to my local power company recently to pay my electric bill, and I said, guys, I'm a little bit short, but I have all these exposure bucks. Can I turn them in for more gas and electric? Can I do that? Will my exposure bucks pay my fucking mortgage? Because I just, I did a game show for this organization, and I didn't charge them a dime, but it was valued at this. Can I just give you that exposure that I got? Can you do that? Because that's not real. Like, I get it. Like, you think you're doing me a favor, but really, like, and you're right, Shawn. I'll bet you, no social media, probably minimal engagement, probably would post a pic of that winning fish that was caught on that bait, but neglect to tag those accounts. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Fall short. And then it's like, oh, well, fuck you though. I got my baits for cheap. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you guys can tell, but this kind of shit pisses me off. It's so annoying.
It happens to you a lot more. You get shit like this constantly.
Yeah, that's true.
Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even to the point where, like, we had this discussion where, for me and you, this is still a hobby.
Oh yeah.
We're enjoying doing this. We are spending probably a little more time than we probably should be for a hobby, but we're enjoying doing this. We're building for the future. You're not quitting your job out of this.
No.
I couldn't just
afford
stop
to.
doing everything around the house and hire a fucking maid. You know what I mean? I have to do shit. Maybe one day we'll be lucky enough that things will really take off and we'll get to a point where those things can happen, but it ain't now.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. No. It's just this isn't that time, But so I mean, if there's anything, it's like look at the value. Like, place value on your stuff. And if you are creating baits and you're creating a product or you're providing a service, know your value, like know what you're worth, and then price accordingly. Like, just because this company has their stuff in stores or whatever, you got to look at the whole chain. What's the wholesale rate of that? And what are you getting for that wholesale rate? If I buy Strike King, right? Strike King is a brand that's all over the place, but is that wholesale rate? I guarantee you that wholesale rate is making them enough money to be able to afford whatever marketing they have when you see their ads in Bassmaster magazine and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Because Strike King can also, through their streamlined processes of making, packaging, and selling lures, can also afford really good accountants and lawyers that
That's true,
manage
too.
every fraction of a cent.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they're playing fucking chess, and we're playing with ourselves.
Yep, exactly. But now it's time to shift gears once again. We've got information. New shit has come to light. It is, it's part 2 of ice being on the way. We've got some chronic trips info for you. So, Shawn, go for it.
I'm hitting it. Do I get music this time?
Would you like music? I mean, do we have stuff that's worthy of having some music?
I don't have updates.
You don't have updates?
I just have dates and stuff. Nah, never mind the music. We'll save the music for when fish are being caught.
The Dothraki,
Yeah, the Dothraki wedding music. We'll do that. All right, so right off the bat, folks, we up here in the Northeast are just bracing, and it's probably hitting right now. It was snowing a little bit this morning. We are bracing for a week of ice-forming temperatures. So hopefully, the valley stays a little warmer than the Berkshires and then the foothills of Worcester. So we're hoping for ice by the end of the week. I know it's going to be up in the Berkshires, and hopefully this weekend I can get out on the ice. That will improve the fishing report.
Ice, baby.
People that are waiting to pull the trigger on the Chronic Trips tournament, that's up and running. Ignore the low numbers, because I know nobody's going to jump in until there's fishable ice. And guess what? I think we got it this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's coming.
Judging from what Jerry was saying, might even be sooner, might even be by this weekend. So we're bracing for that. I'm ready. I'm psyched. Get in on the Chronic Trips, folks. Ice or freshwater. You know what's really surprising? We have Southern and Western listeners. This is an open water tournament as well. I don't know why we haven't seen, anybody who's still out fishing could be throwing bass in and just kicking ass. They could have their NE5 filled up by now and one largemouth.
Absolutely. And we're talking multi-species here, so there's a lot that you can do with that. It's not strictly an ice tournament.
Exactly. So what I wanted to take a minute today to do tournament-wise, we kind of covered some of the rule changes that'll be coming up for all of our tournaments because, we base everything off of that KBF standard and roll from there. Well, I've been getting a couple questions, particularly amongst our members in MAKB in Massachusetts Kayak Bassing that are like first responders or have jobs that you really got to plan your days off ahead of. You got to make sure the shifts are covered. You know what I mean? So the latest one was from Jerry House, but I think Tim O'Keefe and Russ Hatch both contacted me too because they have some things to do dealing with that. And I'm just going to go ahead and give the dates. I'm not going to give the locations yet.
Yeah.
The big man, Mr. Wood said, yeah, hold off on locations. Dates are good. Right. So I'm going to go through MAKB Western Division. I'm going to go through EKF and I'm going to go through KBF that are local. Okay. So April 2nd, first MAKB Western event. So that's 4-2. April 30th, MAKB West, number 2. May 7th, MAKB West, number 3. Then we have a weekend tournament of May 21st and 22nd, which is EKF on day 1 and KBF both days.
Yep.
That's up in Maine. All these you can see on the KBF and the EKF sites. June 4th, MAKB West, number 4. Then we have another weekend tournament of the 11th and 12th of June in Vermont. That's a KBF 2-day.
Cool.
Then the 25th of June, EKF number 2. That one's in New York. Going on to July 16th, EKF number 3. That one's in Massachusetts. We've talked a little bit about that one where you and I are going out for that one.
We're getting into it.
We're fucking throwing gloves on that one, dropping gloves. That was the 16th.
Or dropping trout.
Dropping trout too. And then the 23rd of July, MAKB West, number 5. July 29th through the 31st. This is outside of Mass, but Connecticut, the TBO trifecta. Get your salt on, folks. I will be there. That will be fun.
It's going to be a blast.
Yep. Moving on to August, we got the 6th MAKB Western event on the 13th. And then another 2-day at the end of the month, the 27th and 28th of August, will be in New Hampshire, and it is EKF event number 4, and it's also a 2-day KBF. So the way that goes is basically you're fishing 2 tournaments on Saturday and 1 tournament on Sunday. If you choose to, I will be. That if I'm up there, that's going to be fun. September, we have the 10th and 11th EKF Championship. That'll be up at Champlain again. The 17th, MAKB West, number 7. October, I have 2 tournaments listed, one of which we don't have a date on yet. So qualifiers for the MAKB Championship. That date is to be determined. And then on the 19th and 20th, the 19th through 21st is the KBF Championship, and I believe that's Kentucky Lake in Tennessee. If I'm wrong on that, I don't care. There are websites. I'm pretty sure that's where it was. So that's that. So everybody who is in the MAKB Western Division that's looking for those dates, there you go. Hopefully you can just slow down, write them down on this. That's all that's the stuff that we have going on the western side of the state for our division, and then the I listed all 5 EKF events, which 2 of them run up against KBF events.
Yep.
And then, so all 5 of the EKFs, and then the few KBFs plus the national championship that'll be around here. So
nice.
Hope to see everyone out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be a busy one. Man, there's some good stuff. There is some damn good stuff. Before we move on to our last segment this week, I want to jump in here, and Lockwood gives a really nice example here. He goes, that $5 Strike King lure is probably costing them 10 cents to make. The profit margin from assembly line to shelf is probably 60 to 80% easily. And that's exactly it, because you got to look at it like this. These larger companies that have much larger budgets, they're able to buy their components in such a high amount of bulk that per unit, the cost is so much smaller than if you're a guy in a garage. That's the whole thing. That's why the prices are where they are. So essentially, when you say, oh, you need to price more like Company X that I could buy anywhere, what you're basically saying is that now, no, this is your competition. You're like, no, it's not. This is why custom baits are a thing. You want something made to your specs, you can reach out to this bait maker and they make it the way that you want it. And then, you've got it for that. I mean, I think the other side of it would be like, hey, don't buy 10 of that local bait maker's baits. Buy 1 or maybe 2 and try them. And if they're proven, well, then maybe you'll start to see the value, and why they're priced the way they are.
I think a really good response to this from now on for anybody who faces this is when someone tells you need to change your price or offer them a discount or something, ask them what they do.
Yeah, I do this all the time.
And then turn it right around and say, so are you going to give me a discount on whatever you do?
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, I can't. Why not? Because then I won't make any money. Well,
now we're starting to understand one another. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about those experience buffs? How about you come and unclog my toilet? And I'm gonna tell everybody on social media about it. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
that won't feed my family.
Nope.
Well, then,
Yeah, now we're starting to understand here. Guys, we've got much more coming up after this. Some stuff that we kind of want to go over for you. I think that'll be exciting. Plus, we're going to go out on a new song this week. This is an artist that I just recently discovered. It's been a while since I've been hip to something that's out there that's kind of new-ish. He's been around for a little bit, but I was actually able to tell one of my trivia teams who's very on the cutting edge with music about this artist, and this dude's got a killer voice. We'll be back with more right after this. Jigs and Bigs is proud to announce that we're being supported by Three Bells Outfitters. Located in Smith Cove on the Niantic River, TBO is Connecticut's premier paddle sports retailer. They're a full-service shop specializing in kayaks and paddleboards for everything from recreation to tournament fishing. Three Bells is an authorized dealer of Hobie, Jackson, Feel Free, Native, and Bonafide kayaks, as well as many paddleboard brands. Not sure of what kind of SUP or kayak you want? TBO offers free demos of all all brands. Want to go for an extended test drive? They have a full-service rental facility on site. Three Bells also offers a complete rigging service for your kayak with such brands as Yak Attack, Yak Gear, Burley Pro, Yak Power, Torqeedo, and more. The sky is the limit. You can visit Three Bells Outfitters in person or online at threebellsoutfitters.com. They ship anywhere in the lower 48 states or order online and pick up at the store. Can't make it to the store to pick up your kayak or worried the freight company might damage your purchase? Three Bells Outfitters offers a white glove delivery of kayaks within a 225-mile radius of their store at a rate less than typical freight carriers. They will deliver your kayak, set it up, and answer any questions you may have. Be sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Don't forget to tell them Jigs and Biggs sent you. Three Bells Outfitters, because life is better on the water.
Using crack and cocaine to get high, that's what you say you know. But it's really insane, you could die, what are you thinking of?
It's been a good show. It has really been a good show. It's not over yet, but unfortunately, this week we don't have a guest. I know people have a lot of stuff going on. Once we get into the New Year's kind of here, and everybody's got a bunch of shit going on. There's resolutions that have to get broken and things like that. By the way, I know I mentioned earlier us recording in an ice house somewhere. If you guys know somebody in the Northeast that has an ice house on a lake with like crazy, crazy, crazy safe ice, let us know, because we would actually love to record a special, even with that person. Maybe they have a rental and they want to kind of stroke that on the podcast a bit. We'd love to record an episode in the ice house while ice fishing actively. I think that would be absolutely amazing. But that came from a video from the You Betcha YouTube channel. And those guys are awesome. They do some really, really funny stuff. They had put this out, and it was their New Year's special. They were recording in this ice house. This is somewhere in like Minnesota. They're based in Minnesota, right, Shawn?
Minnesota or Wisconsin.
Yeah.
They're upper Midwest folks.
And so they're out in this ice house, and they're, just having some beers and talking. They're like, we're going to look back at last year's New Year's resolutions. We're going to talk about it. And there was the way it was cut. They go, oh yeah, Miles, you said you were going to get really cut. And there was just explosive laughter everywhere. And I'm like, that would be a great show. I could definitely see where that would work out really nice. But this segment here, I kind of want to jump into a topic that we haven't really talked about at length, and that's truck camping, or camping in general, really. Shawn and I this year are both getting very excited about the idea of extending some fishing trips, and just kind of making the focus more on fishing when we go by utilizing truck camping. And we're both, Shawn's got a fairly new vehicle. I've got a new vehicle. And part of the purpose, the reason why I chose what I chose was because I'm looking at camping in my SUV, camping in my 4Runner. Shawn recently just got, what do they call it? A truck bed tent?
The Back Roads truck tent. I have it next to me. I'm not lifting it up. I'm lazy.
Back Roads truck bed tent. This is a sweet little setup because he can basically bring everything out with him, set this sucker up, and have a base camp where he can, either get to a tournament early, stay there and camp, and then, let it rip. Or we could find a destination, get out there, fish immediately, have a base camp, and then have the next day to fish that early morning. There's a lot of things that we can do. We do have one trip that's on the books, and it's in one of those, it's out of state. It's in one of those tournaments that Shawn had mentioned before, and this should be a lot of fun. And this all kind of happened or came about. Shawn had called me with information about this tournament, what was going on in the schedule. There's other things that are lined up with that tournament that are going to be really exciting, but for that week, it was going to provide a very big obstacle with getting the recording done. And a lot of it was going to have to do with infrastructure because he was going to be remote and unsure about connectivity and the ability to make this happen. So what I said was, well, let me look at my calendar. I said, why don't I just follow you out there and, I'll meet you there. We'll truck camp and we'll record around the fire. And Shawn gave it a nice little name. He goes, This might be one of our first Jigs and Bigs fireside chats, which I think sounds awesome. Like,
yep. Yeah. Well, I'm going to keep the interview is actually scheduled. It's under wraps because there's no point saying who's coming out there with us to stay at the campground. But we're, it's going to be an EKF event. I don't believe that one has a KBF tied into it. Mm-hmm. But this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
It'll be a blast.
And I know when we're talking about going forward with truck camping, for me, it's just kind of a step in a it's almost like an intermediate in between what I do now and really having a camper, a trailer. You know what I mean? So I have planned. I tent camp at least twice, if not up to half a dozen times a year, depending on what year, what's going on, where I've got to fish, etc. Mainly with a tent on the ground, and I hate it on the ground. Sometimes your tent can get wet if you don't bring a tarp. Mm-hmm. Fucking animals. I hate animals.
Roots,
like
rocks.
I hate. Yeah. Well, my my extremely durable good time party mattress.
That's true.
Has takes quite a bit.
Takes a licking and keeps on ticking, if you know what I mean.
Takes a sticking. But either way, having the truck bed tent now allows me to get off the ground. Now, where I'm going to be, I think I'm going to come into some, not problems, but some road bumps, some things I'm going to have to learn about are during those tournament days. I now have to take everything out of my truck bed. That is my tent, my bed, etc., put it on the ground or put it back into my truck, put my kayak back in the bed and go from there. You know what I mean? So I'm going to have to figure out some logistic stuff to do on my own, but that's with every new thing you get, there's always a change. So I'm just going to be happier to be off the ground. I mean, I'm still going to have to wake up earlier than normal, get everything put away, cook breakfast and go. Maybe that means that my cooked meals are later in the day and I've only got stuff pre-prepared before that. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but I'm looking forward to it.
It's interesting that you say that because I've been like you. Anybody who's listened to our show, if you follow Fishing with Becca and Fishing Grubs on YouTube, Todd and Becca have been going out and doing the car and truck camping stuff now for a number of episodes. Getting out there, she's been doing a full truck bed build. Put a cap on her truck and has like a sleeping. I guess like basically had put like a combo storage system, raised up sleeping platform in the bed of her truck. Now she's got an 8-foot truck bed. This thing is massive. She's got this nice brand new Lear cap. Like it's awesome, and it's a good setup, and these are very personal. For everybody. I had gone and the first thing, when I had started looking at the Forerunner was I started looking into other accessories, things that ways that people had utilized the back of their SUVs to camp. And one of the things, and it was a company, I'm going to give them a shout out. They're called Yoho. They do a sleeping platform system that basically utilizes some items from IKEA. It's very cool, but it's an elevated sleep platform. And I spoke with the owner about it, and he said, "What are your dimensions like?" Now, I'm short and fat. And he goes, the problem with an elevated platform is that what happens is you're minimizing the amount of space that you have in that capsule to sleep. Because that's what it is when you're in an SUV. It's a capsule. So he says, he goes, an elevated one might not necessarily be for you. So it was, I appreciate the honesty because that would have sucked. I mean, it's like a CAT scan sometimes, But it got me thinking about a few other things that I wanted to kind of put out there. So I'm basically building a platform that will keep my platform on the floor level because there is an incline where the seats go up. It's about like 3/4 of an inch. And I've got to put something in there, which is not necessarily the worst thing either. But the only thing I'm going to be doing is sleeping in that space. Everything else is going to be outside of the truck. I like to call it not so stealth camping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sleeping in the truck is going to be one thing. Everything else is going to be out in the other out in the other space. So I've been kind of researching a few things. I have a segment I want to put together on I think I came up with 6 or 7 different systems for camping, and these are going to be very personal to the user. Like, who are they camping with? Are they solo? Are they alone? Do they have children? The types of areas that you're camping, what you need to bring with you, because there's certain things that you don't necessarily have to bring all the time. And also, like, you know, the length of your stay, like however long you're going to be out there, what do you have to bring to, you know, kind of make sure that you're covered and you have all the necessary things lined up to make your adventure, you know, a good one. So I've been kind of holding back on doing a lot of this stuff until we get, because the last thing I want to do is use the cold to adjust and get into this. So once we get into the spring, I'm actually going to be doing some stuff right in my backyard, like just spending a few nights in the truck and figuring it out right here. And then we'll go from there. And then I'm going to go and do some, you know, little adventures here and there with the kayak. I'll tow that out and then I'll camp, and, you know, it's going to be, I'm really excited about it. And actually, I think this could be even pretty fun with when I'm doing some stuff where I'm doing some night fishing and maybe I have to travel a distance. And now I'm like, I'm beat. I'm going to take a nap for a few hours and I'll drive when the sun comes up or something like that.
Smart move.
You know, it could be just one of those things. Because like I said, my goal for 2022 is 2 kayak sends a week. That's what I'm looking for. 2 kayak sends a week. So this could definitely help make things even a little bit more exciting. But what's really cool, Shawn, is this. I thought I was going to get a lot of like eye rolling and stuff about the truck camping from the wife. She's making me a blanket for truck camping.
I'm a little amazed. That's pretty awesome.
It's
man.
pretty amazing. Yeah, she had she had asked me. She's like, yeah. She goes. Has recently. My wife knits, and she was. It's like 1 part knitting, 2 parts swearing, is more like the activity. I find. And she's really good. And then she's like, you know what? She's like, I'm going to pick up crocheting again. So she made this really nice blanket. And, you know, the kids love it. And she did a great job with it. And then I said to her, I was like, so she says she's got a couple of different projects. She's working on this one. It's called a temperature blanket, where basically you just go based on the weather. And you use different colors to represent that. So it's like throughout the course of however long, a year, you know, and you basically knit little bits at a time here and there, and you just kind of follow the weather trend, the temperatures. It's kind of cool. And then I told her, I said, yeah, I was talking to her about truck camping stuff, and she goes, yeah. She's like, maybe I'll make you a blanket. And I was like, let's go. So let's go get some yarn now. So we went out, we picked out some yarn. She's like, yeah, this will be great. I was like, this is awesome. I might not necessarily need a sleeping bag now. She's like, you might still want a sleeping bag. She's like, depending. So, you know, hey, this is pretty awesome. I was very, very impressed. So, hey, big round of applause for Queen Beef. So, I mean, yeah, truck camping stuff is going to be coming. We'd like to talk about it. Let us know on Instagram if it's something you're interested in. It's one of those things that I've kind of been looking into, you know, kind of creating, but definitely coming soon. I'm going to be breaking down like in a variety of different systems of things that you need and what those systems include. That's going to be personal, depending on your adventure, depending on what you are comfortable with and what you require. And, you know, hey, it's going to be a good time.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think that's. Did we have anything else that we needed to cover, Shawn? I know we covered the MAKB West stuff and the tournament stuff beforehand. I think that's it.
We hit all the fucking numbers today, bro.
We
hit them all.
We really did. We knocked this out of the park. You guys are so lucky. You are so lucky that you have a couple of, you know, real do or die SOBs that are just making it happen. So, you're welcome.
That's us.
I'm such a piece of shit. Oh, goodness. All right, guys. But seriously, though, remember, follow Shawn the Fisherman on Instagram if you're not already, because we're edging ever closer. What do we got?
I totally forgot. So, I might as well save this for the end of the show. I fucked up, Bobby. I fucked up. You know I fucked up. You know I've been crawling to you going, Bobby, I need help.
Oh, that's right.
So I went ahead and fucked up on Facebook pretty bad. I'm just going to own it. All right.
He committed identity fraud on himself.
Yeah, I'm stupid. So I had started a second Facebook account for Shawn the Fisherman, not realizing that what I wanted to do was not that. And I finally reworked everything. Found some time yesterday, got it done the way I wanted it. So there is a Shawn the Fisherman, all underscore. God damn it. all small letters, Shawn the Fisherman, no underscores. On Facebook, the page, I'll be building it up. It's going to pretty much mirror my Instagram. I might throw a couple more things on there. So
some people like Facebook, though, and I find the engagement's pretty good. Like on our Facebook page, I want to do something this year with our Facebook page, like something else. But go like his page, man.
Yeah, so that's there. I'm sorry, I totally forgot about that. I did have for a long time all fishing related things on my personal Facebook page, but on occasion, someone outside the fishing circle would comment on a fishing thing, and it didn't jive right. So I was like, yeah, I love you, Auntie, but
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're not fitting in right here. This is kind of a weird.
And
thing.
You also have you have connections that are just like, they don't give a shit about the podcast or the tournaments or anything like that. And then they're like, all I ever see is this, so it's, I hear you.
Yep. So I made a page, go enjoy it. Shawn the Fisherman, just like my Instagram handle, enjoy.
Yep.
And that's all I got. Sorry to interrupt, Bobby.
I
fucking forgot that.
No, it's good. It's good. Hey, we got it out now, which is better than nothing. I'm happy with that.
Yes. True statement.
Guys, we are going to go out this week on a song called Broke by an artist named Teddy Swims. You should go check out Teddy Swims. He actually put out a Christmas album, which is awesome. This dude's voice is absolutely killer. So go ahead, give it a listen. You may notice some guest vocals on this track. Thomas Rhett is also in this song. It's called Broke. We will see you guys in 7 days with more Jigs and Bigs goodness for you. Lots of good stuff coming up. Remember, the 100th show is coming up. We're less than a month away. We're excited about it. Now it's crunch time. It's planning time. We have a breakfast meeting at Mrs. Mitchell's tomorrow to get some things lined up and discussed with it. This is going to be so good. You're not going to want to miss it, guys. I am Bobby Roast Beef. That guy over there is Shawn the Fisherman. And thank you very much for listening to our show. If you could be so kind, remember to follow our social medias and give us a review. Whatever platform it is that you're listening to, give us a review. Like if you're on Apple Podcasts, throw us a rating and a review. That would be amazing. We would appreciate it. In the meantime, guys, have a good one. Get out there and try and get some fish. Be safe about it. And if you're in the Northeast like we are, hey, safe ice is a-coming. Take good care, guys. Have a good one and tight lie. Shut the fuck up, Carol.
Shut the fuck up, Carol. Shut the fuck up, Carol. All right.
You ready?
What was that for? I don't know. Just having one of those days. Days.
He's cracking cocaine.